Tuco stole my seat, as usual, I guess. Welcome back to the stream. Well, maybe if I can figure out where to sit, Tuco and I can both work here. Is that okay, Tuco? Yeah, we were starting out with the cat cam, apparently. That's what Tuco was in the mood for. Tuco has been very bossy. I mean, that's kind of his deal. He's usually bossy, but I feel like it's been especially bad the past, 2 weeks or so. He's very sweet as long as he gets exactly what he wants. I think the heated seat with good padding is on his list. Tuco, how do you expect this to work? Ooh, do we not have clock? I was trying to actually have the clock on this machine set correctly, but it's back to 1999. Tuco. Oh my gosh, Tuco's been just like yelling at me at all times of day. The main thing I wanted to do in the stream was actually do a teardown of a thing I picked up from the post office today. So kind of a quick diversion. But I did want to actually have xclock on this machine now that I have the X server kind of working. And then that reminded me of another classic program that might be kind of fun to run, dali clock, where the numbers all melt into each other. I don't think there's a package of that in Alpine though, so maybe we'll go on a slight adventure and compile it. Oh, click. Tuco. Click. Whoa, FEWM logo spotted. Can I get that on the camera? Oh, we missed it. I was starting up the window manager and we got a splash screen for a minute there. Oh, now we have xclock. Yeah, stuff takes a minute to load here. But it's a clock. That screen blanking we were seeing yesterday definitely was DPMS power management. I have X set on here now, so I can actually turn that on and off. Whoa, did somebody draw a background? Is the window manager going to try to get fancy here on our limited resources? Ooh, yeah, there's like an icon situation happening. Is that a desktop switcher? Wow. Gosh, okay, I didn't realize this came with desktop widgets. Now I've got multiple clocks. As much fun as it would be to try to compile xdali clock on this machine, it seems like maybe the kind of thing we should compile in the Docker environment we've got here. Oh, can we go back to maybe a less, I don't know, just like put like 5 things on the screen instead of just one thing. That's how we usually do it here, right? Oh no, broken optical drive from chat. that's frustrating. Yeah, those the eject mechanisms you see in optical drives are often like the most fragile and elaborate parts, at least mechanically. Duke. So yeah, I was just running that from this serial terminal here. Let's see what this looks like in top. Just to remind folks what we're working with, cat proc CPU info, authentic AMD, family 4, model 10, 31.94 BOGO MIPS. Yeah, so this is an embedded 486 system on chip with 32 megs of RAM. CPU's staying pretty quiet. That's nice. Gosh, how much hard disk space do we have? That's the main limiting factor on stuff like compiling or installing like giant X11 packages. Right, I'm still working with a 64 meg card here, and we don't have enough space for like much at this point. So yeah, let's try compiling X-dali clock. Let's just make another image here that is similar to this A-ports builder. What do they call the packages for everything? This is the program, by the way. The website actually has a JavaScript version of it now. It's a very old program, so it seems like it might actually run decently on something that doesn't have a lot of CPU horsepower to throw at pixels. You know, like it actually makes an effort to only update small portions of the screen at a rate that a slower CPU can handle, I think. It's been ported to things like Palm Pilot, old Macs, you know, stuff that's even a little bit slower than the CPU. Tuco gave me my seat back voluntarily, wow. Maybe he wanted something warmer. So yeah, this might be fun to compile. Is that what this is called? Yeah, libx11 dev. Some of the stuff that was just for the Alpine builder. This is going to be kind of messy and hard-coded for this particular build, and I'm not going to worry about hashing it. Right, we do actually need to install wget. Let's just start there and like get the exact build commands by doing it once manually. No, screen just turned off due to power management. So I think I can disable power management. I can also temporarily turn it back on. Oops. Like that. Right, just like using 130 megs of temporary space to build this, why not? Actually root right now. XT. Oh yeah, there's a question about what was crashing the system during boot. Yeah, we solved that a few streams ago. That was, you're probably talking about the crash in Grub, because I think as soon as I got it to boot Linux, the rest of it was pretty straightforward. And the crash in Grub turned out to be something where it was hitting a CPU register that this doesn't have to try and disable PAE extensions. text. Man, graphics libraries in Linux have some of the best names. Just have like all the different combinations of like a couple of unpronounceable letters, and then you have some puns. Right? I mean, you have GL, which originally just meant graphics library, and then there was a glue because people wanted graphics library utilities, but then people started making puns on glue, like, oh, we need a better lib glue, so now there's lib epoxy. Docker build. Okay. Cool, so we just compiled xdali clock. Yeah, it's right there in the working directory. Cool. Just make sure these runtime dependencies are actually installed. But sure. So rootfs. Some libraries. Where would I even usually install that? I'm just going to put it in user bin, why not? Sorry, a bunch of that was cut off. Okay, trying to build the whole image now with the dali clock in there. How did I accidentally do that? Well, that's building. I want to take a closer look at what's actually going on the screen over here. Wow. It's like a whole desktop environment happening. No. Wow. There's kind of like a velvety floral print background going on too. I thought the screen was just dirty, but it's like a wallpaper. Maybe I'll turn off the lights. Does that help? I think I need to turn the gain up on the webcam. Oh, power management. I forgot to wake that up. Wake up. This is theoretically a pretty high quality graphics setup, like mostly limited by the LCD technology. The viewing angle is not great, so it's going to look a lot better when we get a nice top-down view, like from the webcam I've got set up. It should look better once I actually have everything back in the case where we can, angle the screen the way it's meant to be instead of just sitting flat on a desk. Oh, cool. I think this is probably done building. Oh, almost. Oh yeah, this one's done. I just need to copy it to the card, yank the power and do that. See here, this is what I actually check. If I forget to plug in the card reader, now I get SDA is not a block device instead of it just filling up the /dev directory of my Raspberry Pi. That's a good point, that poor viewing angles are kind of a bonus for a voting machine. Yeah, the actual pop-up screen part of this voting machine comes with like a little, like a cloth, not cloth, but like some kind of non-woven like vinyl fabric kind of sheeting that you can like a little tent you can pop up around the screen to, I guess, improve privacy and reduce glare and that kind of thing. Ready to open this package I got, but Tuco is just so cute. I can't make him any smaller on the screen right now. He looks pretty cozy. Gosh, cats really do seem to be the only thing the world's got going for it at the moment. Let's boot off this fresh card. Beep beep. Beep beep beep. Is that some purring I hear? doing all that unnecessary user space stuff where it tries to set up the network card that it doesn't have yet. There we go, got a login prompt on the serial port. Maybe we'll switch back to the split screen. Dmux. Do a verbose XORG here on one. Oh, I've been meaning to turn off GLX. It's not going to work, and it's just making the X server larger and load slower. Alright, and DRI. I wonder if DGA even works. And I need to fix that key map problem. There are a bunch of little configuration problems in the XORG setup right now. Anyway, I think it's actually up now. So I have it not in the right video mode right now. One of the several configuration problems. It's supposed to be 1024 by 768. It's currently got some of the vertical space cut off, so it's 1024 by 576 for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's detecting the amount of video memory correctly. It's saying we only have 2 megs of video memory, which makes 24-bit not quite enough. I forget whether it's just like barely enough or whether it's like actually not, but either way it doesn't have enough space under this configuration. So, but there is enough space for a full frame buffer and some off-screen memory if you bump the color depth down to 16 bits, which is what I've got here. I don't know what color depth the voting machine usually uses. I'm guessing they would use 16-bit, because I didn't notice any paletting artifacts like I would expect with 8-bit, but you know, they also didn't have anything especially colorful, so I doubt they would really need to waste the memory on just like 24-bit color everywhere. Okay, let's see if oh yeah, the date is reset again. Should I fix that? Enough. Next dali clock runs. Ooh, we might have just got an X server reset because we the X server does this thing which is kind of annoying when you're just bringing things up like this, where when you have one client connect and then that one client disconnects, basically, if the X server ever goes into a state where the last client disconnects, it resets itself. Which is why the screen just flashed for a sec. Ooh, we can do full screen mode. Let's just do full screen mode. Why is it red? I don't know why the colors are so weird. Oh, the X visual class. is trippy when the LCD resets. Gosh. Should we try a different color depth, maybe? Maybe I should just load a window manager. I don't know what stage of this it's at currently. Just got a black screen. Gosh, disappointing thing about this setup is if I want to use the main camera for stuff, I've got to steal it from this great view of Tuco we have right now. I'm like ready to get started on the main part of this stream, but Tuco's being cute, and also I kind of want to see X-Dali clock run a little bit better. I don't know why Xorg is doing whatever it's currently doing. I think I might just try resetting it. Right. So also back from the days before kernel mode setting or anything like that, uncleanly exiting the X server was a great way of just leaving your console completely unusable. Is Tuco having a dream where he's running? It's like his legs are moving like he was running. Anybody have guesses on what's going to be in this USB isolator? So just for a little context, I have been having electrical interference problems in my audio interface for a long time. They've usually not been the loudest source of interference, but I think now that I've been debugging things, it's down to like that actually being pretty annoying. So I've been looking for solutions for that. There's a pretty ubiquitous chip that you can find on cheap boards on eBay all over that Analog Devices makes, which does like galvanic isolation between a USB device and a USB host port at low speed or full speed, which is the 1.5 or 12 megabit modes. And that's good for some types of devices. Like typically things like keyboards are low speed 1.5 megabyte devices. Typically a lot of like instrumentation, things like USB serial adapters. A lot of USB audio interfaces are full speed, so 12 megabits. And so for any of those devices, this cheap thing that's like a $5 board that'll do it just fine. For high-speed devices running in the 480 megabit mode, the choices were a bit more limited. So I was looking around, and it's kind of hard to find like information about what's in a lot of these. Like the cheaper ones, they're just like, yes, we use this analog devices chip, whatever. The more expensive ones, I think folks have a bit more, of a notion that people don't like want details, and or there's some like trade secret to hide. So I don't know what's up with that. There's some that you can find from like audio equipment purveyors, dare I say, like audiophile salespeople. And I wasn't able to really figure out what those had. There was one that was claiming to pass any USB speed. It was pretty inexpensive. I don't know. None of the facts they offered really added up, and I assume that it's not actually a galvanic isolator, but it's actually just, if anything, like an LC filter that tries to cut out audio frequency noise from the power and data, which may very well be what some people need, I guess, but it's not a galvanic isolator, if I understand it right. Maybe they do something where they're galvanically isolating the power and ground and then like capacitively coupling the USB data leads. I don't know. But the same company is manufacturing stuff that seems extremely improbable, like a USB 3 isolator for a reasonable price that claims to do all the modes. So that just sets off my snake oil alarm bells all over, and I am not going to suggest that anyone give that company money, nor would I want to try to obtain one to take it apart unless I was sure that the company wasn't getting any money or advertising from it, because they seem like a scam. The best one that I found was actually from this company that makes mostly oscilloscopes. So it was still a little fishy because they weren't explaining exactly what's in this, but they did explain generally what's in it. They had like a block diagram with a transformer and some logic on either side, basically, which is how a lot of these are. I've seen teardowns of, I think, more expensive ones made by different companies where they actually do have like an FPGA and a USB transceiver on either side and that kind of thing. So I'm curious kind of where on that spectrum of like over-engineered industrial thing to like reasonable commodity to like outright snake oil this particular product happens to be. Is this still working? I don't see anything on the screen, but maybe it powered off. Yeah, maybe it's bad luck to start FEWM right off the bat like that. It's also bad luck to kill -9 Xorg. Well, maybe I'll reboot that and get started on this teardown part. Let's go to this main camera here. Is that really what the white balance here is doing? That's not right at all. nondescript inner package. This came in an outer package, which was covered in postal marks. Yeah, pretty basic there. Just a padded envelope and a box. It didn't look so gold on the website. Is that like a tamper evident sticker so they can tell if you've opened it, like bad children? Oh, hey Tuco, are you coming to investigate the packaging? This is a useful, reusable bag. I guess it would be useful to maybe like plug it in and make sure it works briefly before we pop the seal. High-speed device. Whoa, Tuco, careful. Hey, don't stand on that. Tuco, don't. Gosh, last time I had this running X clock really nicely, and then Tuco decided to go on a walk, and it looked like he was going to stand right on the motherboard, so I yanked the power. Tuco. Ah, this little cat. Tuco, you're in such a relaxed kitty mood. Don't stand on my electronics, though. Okay. Gosh. This is all kinds of tangled. Alright, let's just use some random high-speed device that I've got here. Deal with that in a minute. Minicom hung. Okay, got a cool little storage device just for the control experiment. The isolator in all of its gold-plated, gold-stickered glory. So I would expect this to show up as nothing on the bus, because it shouldn't actually be a USB device as per the spec. If it did show up on the bus, that would indicate that it has a hub inside, which I actually would prefer it doesn't. Pretty stiff connector. Okay. So yeah, that seems to work. Let's take it apart. It came with this little USB sock, which is kind of cute. Put the sock back on so its foot doesn't get cold. Okay. Button zone. That's too cool looking to go. I feel like that sticker really wanted to just come off intact in one piece, which is really not what you want your tamper evidence stickers to be trying to do. I don't think these are real tamper evidence stickers. So is this also glued? It does look like it's maybe glued. Might have to crack it open. Maybe this. I can just twist it really slightly. And Tuco wants out again. You think this thing's booby trapped? We've got a gap there. Oh yeah. I am seeing a gap. I just need something to force this open with that won't make a giant explosion or something. Also, there seems to be a circuit board right behind there like you'd expect, so I'm going to be careful. Oh, it's coming. I can't tell if it was actually glued. I think it might have been very weakly ultrasonic welded or something. I don't know. It might also just be very tightly fitting plastic. Ooh, is that a transformer right behind there? There's something fairly large underneath there. Okay, that one side is totally off, and the other side is not off at all. Yeah, I don't think it was welded or glued at all. I think this is just a very stiff fitting case. I really don't want to break anything in there, but a knife blade fits really well. I should let you go back in. Hey boy, welcome back. There we go. Tuco. Honey, what are you doing? Something ominous in there. Oh gosh. Huh. Wow. There is more to this than I was expecting. Right, that's pretty cool. We'll have to take off this tape. I don't know if I want to unstack these boards. I think we'll be able to see what's what without fully disassembling it. It's pretty nice though. I don't think this was... Oh yeah, no, this was glued. Not all the way around, but we can look under the microscope. It was glued in a bunch of places. Tuco. Yeah, some weird board-to-board right there, right? Like using 0.1 inch headers as board-to-board connectors. This is not a very high volume product. This comes from like a small oscilloscope manufacturer. Yeah, it doesn't look like snake oil necessarily. Like it looks like kind of like I would expect something like this to inside with some isolators of some variety, and yeah, maybe they use the board-to-board connector as part of their isolation gap. He just always wants attention. He's such a good little cat. Power motor starting. There's all sorts of things I could try to reach, but cat is in my hands. No, he likes that. Actually, maybe in the vein of having a cat cam for a minute and maybe having these multiple storylines keep going, let's try to get the dali clock running while Tuco is sitting here being all purring. Tuco. I still have a serial port. Purr. Tuco, what are you doing? You can take that back to the desk. You want to play with this? Here. Is that not it? Oh boy. Oh, you want that too? Is it still starting? Oh, there it is. It just takes a minute to start. Let me see if I can add a small dali clock to this. Yeah. Let's move that so we can see the whole thing. So the colors are messed up. I don't know why. It's probably something obscure about the way X represents color depths. Yeah, so there's the glue residue where the case was glued together. So if anyone ever takes one of these apart, you should be able to get it pretty easily if you can spudge right at those 6 locations. And then just otherwise the case was pretty tightly fitting too. Alright. Well, let's figure out what these actual isolator chips are. Oh, you know, I'm assuming the tape is here. Man, I don't actually know if I'll be able to get the tape apart and back together without compromising the isolation on this thing. Looks like I could lift it up at this side and then try to reapply it carefully. Yeah. These were definitely taped before being soldered together. Gosh, well, this helps explain why there aren't any detailed teardowns of this thing on the internet, because I think you basically have to compromise the high voltage isolation of this to get a thorough teardown. I don't super mind that here, since I don't need personally the high voltage isolation capabilities. I'm using this at low voltages. I'm mostly using it to try to clean up an audio interface, but don't like if there are ground voltages in my system that can jump this gap, I've got bigger problems. So maybe I will just take this off and then try to tape it up as best I can afterwards. It's also certainly possible to unstack these boards. There are not that many connections. And like, I don't know how many electrical connections we're dealing with either. So it looks like we've got 2 over here, which both seem to be used. And just these other 4. Interesting construction method, right? So I think getting this apart, it would be possible, but probably a pain, and I would worry about heat damaging some of these parts. So let's try undoing the tape. The X-Dali clock colors continue to be weird. Okay, I guess from that angle it just looks red on black. From this angle it looks like orange on green. Yeah, this is more what I'm seeing from my vantage point. Those viewing angles, right? Okay, I'm just gonna cut the tape. I was gonna try to get at least some of it off in one piece, but I don't think I can get a useful amount. Oh, the screen just went off. Is that power management? Yeah, xset minus DPMS brings it back. I should really be using a sharper knife for this. Either that or scissors. don't feel like fussing around looking for better tools to open this. Surprisingly sturdy tape. Ooh, we got the slots. Piece of tape removed. That was the board that didn't have as much on it. There's a chip right under that slot. Wow, designed last February. This is surprising because this looks a lot like it's a single chip solution, or at least a pair. And I wasn't aware of there being like a chipset for this. I've seen some products that used like kind of more basic parts like FPGAs and transceivers to implement it. Huh. What are you? You're not just op amps, are you? Oh gosh, there's a coil under there. Hey there, coil. Ooh, where are you attached? And is that a test pad or a test point connection on the edge there? Gosh, this thing is not what I was expecting. I wonder if the coil here is their power section and then their data section is capacitive. It's possible that this is using some off-the-shelf high-speed capacitive isolator for the data lines. That's almost certainly going to be the transformer they use for their power isolation. So, I mean, these devices tend to have fairly separate power and data sections, and in fact, those low-cost isolators that you find for full speed and high speed, or full speed and low speed, tend to use this analog devices chipset for the data, and then for power, there's a bunch of other options, like you can use any off-the-shelf isolated power converter. So I'm guessing that this, yeah, I wonder actually if this circuit board is mostly the power section, and then the other circuit board is, it'd be nice to know what that chip is, the big one. My hunch is that this big chip is a capacitive isolator or single chip thing that does the data. We could actually just try to follow some of the traces though. Everything interesting is on that side. That's probably data lines coming through though. Like, actually, I wonder if this top circuit board is an entire, like, data-only USB isolator. I'm wondering if these 4 pins are actually just USB data, and then these 2 pins might just be power for the downstream port. So yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. I think this top board is the data section and the bottom board is the power section, rather than it being somehow like related to the 2 halves of the isolation barrier. To get more of this tape out so I can see that chip, but I also don't want to disturb this inductor too much. Ooh, can we see that? Alright, something USB related in that part number. I can't make out the whole thing though. Oh, is that the name? Silana? ICE USB B.3? Or ICE USB 83? That is a chip I have never seen before. Let's try to find some data on that. Yeah, the company name is SILANNA. ICE USB B3 1536CY. Hmm. Gosh, that's aggro. We will grind all of your markets into a pulp. Making the world safer. Yeah. That means they're selling stuff to cops, right? Okay, so they make DC-DC converter stuff. Mm. It's going to be one of those companies that doesn't document any of their chips publicly. We have like press releases from 2020 maybe. Oh, they're in Australia. Yeah, so I guess this company's from Australia. The company that actually makes this dongle operates out of Singapore. So they're doing some other USB stuff. USB power distribution. This is a really strange part. Like, this is part of what I mean when I say electronics is like way more about purchasing most of the time than engineering. Like, the issue here is not like how do you design an isolator so much as like how do you actually get the parts. And like these days it makes sense to do most of it on the silicon side instead of, or at least like in a package. I would be curious to actually do like a deeper teardown. I don't actually want to destroy this one that I have, but it would be really interesting to see this chip decapped and to see what is actually going on inside it. It could be a variety of things. Like it could be multiple dice in one package with some kind of either like optical or capacitive or inductive isolator in between. Maybe it's some kind of MEMS thing. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a comment about the way the coil was mounted. It is pretty weird. Was that an IC pad? I thought it was actually just soldered to its own. Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's totally just sharing a pin with one of the ICs. I don't know whether that would have been for efficiency or whether that's actually just a legit bodge. That is pretty weird. Oh, that's interesting. Does anybody else know about this Silana USB B3 thing? Yeah, this is basically just like a little unicorn piece of silicon that just solves their whole problem. Other than power, of course, which is what it seems like most of the rest of this is. There were some other passives on here, like it seemed like there were some capacitors to clean up the power and the data on both sides of the big isolator chip. But the big isolator chip seems to be doing most of the work. Interesting. Should we see if this cleans up the audio at all? I don't know if I want to try risking restarting the audio during the stream. So it might be safer to do that between streams. I only live once though. Isn't that what YOLO stands for these days? It's also interesting that there's a slot in the board below the isolator chip. Right, that's got to be a multi-chip module of some sort. Like you can't get much isolation. Oh, actually, you can do isolated modules where you have a wafer and then like an oxide layer and another wafer, and then couple them optically or maybe capacitively. I don't know if they do that capacitively also. But like that's how a lot of, I think that's how opto-isolators are usually made, is layering multiple silicon wafers with insulated oxide layers between. Okay, let's put this back together. I think there's already plenty of tape on this. I don't know that I need to add more tape. I'm just going to put the enclosure back. Does this even have a directionality to it? The screen went to sleep again. It's a bit of a tight fit in this case too. I didn't go for a design with like tons of extra room. Okay, I've clearly messed the tamper evidence stickers up. Just gonna try it in the Raspberry Pi real quick, and then we can try doing the stream audio through it. Okay, seems like it still works. We can read a compact flash card. Oh, here goes nothing. I'm gonna try sticking it in the stream audio. All right, so beforehand. So the noise is very sensitive to the mic location, and I'm actually not getting a ton of the stuff that I know was USB related right now. The best A/B test for that would really be with my logic analyzer, because that was generating a bunch of that interference. But let's just try it and see what happens. I can do more testing later. Okay, I think we're back. Gosh, that's like the most annoying variant of the USB problem where the cable is always the wrong way around. Oh, cool, I can definitely still hear the lights. But maybe some of the other noise is gone. Most importantly, it works. The thing you always worry about with these is that they just don't work at all, because it's very easy for that to happen. But now Tuco's back. Tuco! Hey! 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 Oh my gosh, honey. Tuco! Oh, honey. Well, no. Well, that's basically all I had for today's stream, taking apart and testing out that little audio, or that USB isolator that I wanted for my audio signal. And having that dali clock run. It's kind of nice that was so easy to run, at least. Just had to grab a couple of packages, but didn't even have to patch it. Tuco does this like big old sigh when he is annoyed, like, and then he tries to do something else, like this. All right, Tuc, you want out? I'm gonna unmute the other microphone because I was getting more interference on that one before. The major component of the interference I'm hearing now is the like position dependent stuff, which I don't even know how much of that is acoustic and how much of it is electromagnetic at this point. Like, I'm assuming it's electromagnetic. I don't actually hear the lights humming with my ears. My ears are not great, but I think I would notice that. I think that's mostly EMI coming through the mic, because the front of these microphones are basically just like inductors connected to really sensitive amplifiers. Right, just angling it up and I get more hum. That popping might be analog noise too, actually. I think if I don't touch the microphone, they are mostly alright, but there's maybe some more debugging to do there. My power management went off again. Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. A special thanks to everyone who chips in on the Patreon or folks who tell their friends about the stream, or just send kind words and snuggles to the cats in your life. So I'll try to keep the cat in my life happy and keep bringing you these video streams. See you tomorrow, folks. Ow. Wow.